Hello from Union Station in Toronto, Canada. Today, we're going to be taking the Via Rail train from Toronto, biggest city in Canada, over to Montreal, second biggest city in Canada. It's going to be about a 5-hour, maybe 5.5-hour train ride. And along the way, I'm also going to share some thoughts on how trains in Canada could be improved. As viewers of my channel will know, I just spent some time taking trains in Europe. And I'd like to think about how Canadian trains, and more broadly speaking, North American trains, can learn from that experience. Now, in front of me, this is kind of interesting. The station here has a map of all the train routes in Canada. This will give you an idea where most Canadians live, which is far to the south of our country. So you can see there are some northern train routes up to Churchill. That's popular for people who want to see polar bears. But most Canadians have never made it that far north. Most of the train travel in this country is actually within what's sometimes referred to as the Quebec-Windsor corridor. A large percentage of Canadian population live right around here. Even though it's over 5 hours by train, you can see that really is only a little bit of Canada, which, as we all know, is a very large country. But of course, we're going to do more than just look at maps today. So let's get out here into Union Station, one of Canada's great train stations, I would say. It's also connected to the TTC, the Toronto Transit, which is why most people in the city of Toronto will be taking their visits to Union Station. Despite the beautiful station, I think train travel remains most common amongst tourists to Canada, and occasionally people like me who are taking trips. But there you can see the full train board, right? So my train's not for an hour and a half, and it's second on the list. Now, if you compare that to Europe, I recently took a train out of places like Paris, places like Frankfurt, major European cities. They have trains leaving every 5 minutes. Yeah, of course, cities like Paris have multiple train stations too. They have Gare du Nord, they have Gare d'Est, they have several other large train stations. As I step outside and give you some views of Union Station from the outside, that tower peeking through the clouds. Some of you no doubt recognize the CN Tower, once the largest structure in the world. I believe it wasn't passed until the Burj Khalifa was completed, but it remains in many ways the icon of the Toronto skyline, and it's pretty cool that you get to see it as soon as you exit Union Station. Now, the actual waiting area for Via Rail, it doesn't have much going on, but if you actually want a proper meal and a more comfortable place maybe to hang out, I'm going to show you where to go. Because this is the way to the subway and the streetcars and the other transit that the people of Toronto take pretty much every day of their lives. And just compare the crowds here. You'll start to see that, Via Rail is rather sleepy in comparison. And this isn't rush hour, by the way. It can get quite a bit busier than this. So if you are someone who gets a bit claustrophobic around too many people, just be aware of that. You are in, I would say, the busiest station of the busiest city in Canada. So if you're from a smaller town, it will be an adjustment. Okay, guys, I can't help myself. I got so much food. I just spent like 35 bucks on this. Oh, it's gonna be so good though. I also grabbed a coffee. I got about 50 minutes until my train boards. So I think I can comfortably sit here for at least 20 minutes. One thing about trains in Canada that is objectively worse than the trains in Europe. In Europe, you can just arrive 5 minutes before your train, walk up, get on, and it's gonna leave right on time, and it's gonna have no issues. Whereas here, they usually want you to line up and check your ticket like 30 minutes before the train leaves. Like, they do a boarding process, which to me makes no sense. To me, they're making the train process like the airplane process, And everybody hates flying because of the airplane boarding process. You know, like you're taking one of your competitive advantages, which is it's more comfortable to take the train. Planes will always be faster, but trains can be more comfortable, and you're making it more like flying. And so I think that's one of the reasons Canadians don't regularly take the trains, because of little annoyances like that, expecting to be boarding 20 or 30 minutes before the train leaves. First things first, let's get some Canadians back on those trains. Okay, so it's almost 3 o'clock. The train leaves in 24 minutes. And I can already see a huge lineup of people who I imagine are waiting to board this train. Is this in Montreal? Thanks. Now again, I don't want to spend too much time making this point, but I'm going to give you some clips of what it looks like boarding a train in Europe, just so you know how much better the boarding process can actually be. So I'm looking for track number 5. Departing at 4:09 p.m. Braga, Porto Camp. That's me. Oh, here comes our train. Nice looking train. Well done, Portugal. Ah. I mean, look, there's got to be over 100 people standing around uncomfortably, waiting. I think I saw one person going around single-handedly scanning QR codes on people's phones instead of just doing this when we get on the train. I mean, it really doesn't make sense. This is ridiculous. The line goes all the way to here. I mean, it might seem like a small critique that I'm making. And if you're a tourist taking this train one time, you're just going to shrug and it's not going to be a big deal. But if you're a regular commuter, if you're someone who travels on business twice a month from Toronto to Montreal, and this just becomes part of your routine, that extra 30 minutes standing around for no reason waiting to scan your phone in this dimly lit fluorescent room, you know, it is going to be the difference between you taking the train and you telling the company you work with, oh, just let me fly. You know, I mean, at least out here you have a nice atmosphere, nice lighting. The poor people who lined up 30 minutes ago to wait to get in their seats just to leave at the exact same time as people like me, it just boggles the mind. It boggles the mind. So I'm going to sit here out of protest, and I'm not going to line up until I see, like, when the last couple people in the line are boarding, I'm going to go up and show my ticket and be like, well, I'm ready. But this, my friends, is everything that is wrong with Canadian trains. We're so close, you know, we're so close to getting trains right in this country. That's the frustrating part. We have a beautiful country to explore. We have a lot of tourists. We have these beautiful train stations that should be capable to have, you know, 20, 30, 40 trains a day. So instead, people drive for an hour, adding more traffic on the highway to get to the airport, just to fly for like an hour to Ottawa or Montreal, when they could have taken the train. All right, 3:19. We're supposed to depart in 4 minutes. We'll see, it might be tight, but we'll see if we make it.
Have a safe trip.
So that's the main difference, I guess. Yeah. Do you want to have your ticket scanned 40 minutes early or 40 seconds early? And here's another lineup. Look, I don't see any reason they wouldn't just scan the tickets here at the doors, but via rail logic, what can you do? We're now officially late, by the way. Feels a lot like an airplane, doesn't it? Oftentimes they have nice little windows between the cars where you can get some clear views without bothering too many other people. There's not a ton of space here, but I just wanted to get a couple shots. Merci. Okay, my friends, welcome to Montreal. Bienvenue à Montréal. 8:40 p.m. Just over 5 hours. I'd say we're exactly on time, actually. Which is surprising because we did leave slightly late and we had to make a couple of stops. I'll tell you one thing though, there is our train, number 66. And then all of the 3 following trains, look at that one, an hour late, 30 minutes late. But yeah, that's interesting because that kind of gives you the typical Via Rail experience, I would say. Showing up on time is unfortunately rare when it comes to these longer journeys. Not only because, as I said earlier, you know, the tracks are shared and sometimes you have to stop to let another train go by, but also I would say because of the boarding speed issue I was talking about earlier. There was no reason why that train should have departed late. The train was there waiting. Everyone was lined up 40 minutes early. Not able to board the train, slowly getting there, ticket scanned, and then slowly moving up and then getting your ticket scanned again, and then slowly putting your suitcases on. It's a system that makes sense only if you've never seen how anywhere else in the world does train travel. And again, I say that with all love to the employees of Via Rail who do their best and you know, always do their job with a smile. I just think some of their management has to rethink their policies here. Thank you all for joining me on this ride tonight. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on Canadian train travel, whether you're a Canadian or whether you're someone from another country who's experienced Via Rail trains. I think we can criticize things without being a hater. You know, I think we can do it from a position of love. I love my country. I want people to visit my country. I want people to experience my country. And I want them to have a good experience. And if I seem critical of Via Rail in today's video, that is why. I'm not a hater. I'm just someone who wants to see train travel in Canada improve. As always, I'm Dan from The New Travel. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you next time.